Hello everyone and welcome back to That Handicapping Show on bloodhorse.com. I'm Tom Lamara along with Pete Dank. Another good weekend of racing coming up. We're looking at the Kentucky Downs Turf Cup, a grade 3 event at 1.5 miles at Kentucky Downs, which has a very, very strong card of 10 races on Saturday. This race, grade 3, came up extremely well. This might be one of the strongest runnings of the race that I've seen, if not the strongest running of the race. A lot of graded stakes horses in this race. Again, Kentucky Downs, you know, the up and down track, sweeping last turn, very hard to handicap sometimes, and this race is not easy to handicap because it's pretty deep. What do you think about the setup of the pace, Pete, and how this race may go?
It looks like we got a lone front runner here. I'm thinking Ioya Big Time, who ran second in this new race at Arlington, the American St. Leger, is lone speeding here. There's a horse trained by Graham Motion named Lake Drop, who's going blinkers on, a 4-year-old Lemon Drop Kid horse who's got some good experience overseas running this distance. Blinkers on, sometimes the horse will show extra speed. I suppose that horse could possibly press him, but I don't think going 1.5 miles on a demanding course, anyone's going to be in a big hurry to press anyone. So I think Ioya Big Time, right out of the gate, should have a little bit of a tactical advantage here.
Yeah, that horse ran huge in the American St. Leger last time, and quite frankly, the horse that beat him, Jackleberry, I believe was the favorite.
Yes.
And that horse ran strong in the last quarter of a mile or so, and no disgrace though, because this horse was well ahead of the third place finisher, if I'm not mistaken. Clearly an improving horse, bred in Illinois, but the horse has class, and I do agree. I think you're looking at him up front. Rahi Strada, rough trip in the Arlington Million. No room for most of the race, escaped late, closed late for third in a dead heat, and of course he's 1 for 1 on this course, having won this race last year. I think, you may have a couple horses loose up front. I think whatever I do, I'm using those two horses, Rahi Strada and Ioya Big Time, because I think they have some pace advantage in this race. Yeah.
The horse that you mentioned who caught Ioya Big Time, Jackleberry, he's a Group 1 international performer. He's a very good horse. It could be argued Rahi Strada is about on his level, perhaps, maybe a little bit lower. A couple other interesting horses here on the rail. Kindergarten Kid, Mike Maker claimed him last time at Saratoga. This horse has the pedigree. He's a Dynaformer out of a Dixieland band mare. Maker can improve horses. He's listed at 9-2 on the morning line. I thought he might be a little higher. Let's see what that one does. I mentioned Lake Drop getting blinkers. Tahoe Lake is coming in from New York and kind of gives us a different class line than a lot of these are coming out of. He's lost twice to Point of Entry, who a lot of people think is the best American 1.5 mile turf horse.
Yes.
So if you really like Point of Entry, I think Tahoe Lake's interesting if they let him go at a big price. The other horse I could consider using is Cozy Kitten on the outside. It's a Ramsey horse. They usually can go pretty long on the turf. And this horse has run some okay races earlier in its career, but really hasn't put it all together.
Yeah.
Should be a big price.
The Ramsey barn has two horses, of course. And the Kindergarten Kid had never run for a tag before, and he was eligible to be claimed for $50,000 in that last start and immediately was taken. He's got some back class. Would not surprise me if the horse won. He will be on my list of horses to use. I've really struggled to come up with a horse on top here, and I'd really like to duck. But I think for the purposes of just an across-the-board bet, I think I would probably take a chance on Kindergarten Kid because I think the price may be fairly generous in this particular spot.
I think I'm gonna go with my Illinois roots, and I'm gonna bet Ioya Big Time. The American St. Leger was 1 mile and 11/16. This is 1.5 miles, although this is a much more demanding course than Arlington is. So I'm glad he's shortening up a little bit. He'll probably need all his stamina reserves to get there going 1.5 miles. But I'll take the pace advantage and hope nobody runs too big of a one to run him down. maybe spread out a trifecta play with 4 or 5 horses underneath them.
All right, I would strongly recommend spreading out in this race. If you really like a horse, play him on top, maybe with all. So anyway, that is the Kentucky Downs Turf Cup Grade 3 this coming Saturday. Once again, be sure to check out Pete's picks, Locksmith picks for Saturday. They'll be up on the website. And again, we thank Briss for the past performances. For Pete, I'm Tom. Have a great racing weekend. We'll see you next week.